2 yards. Carry number 11 already for Samar Smith. He's up to 63.
To get this offensive line put together, as you mentioned, they lost a lot of talent, including NFL talent. You can see 79 Max Rich there. And the running back just rolled into his leg. His leg was planted. Fortunately, you can see he's up. He's limping a bit, but he's walking off under his own power. You're hoping that there's nothing more serious going on there for Max Rich, a talented football player.
The backup is a sophomore, Tim O'Brien, so he'll be thrust in a situation where it's all about the hog mollies down low. 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line as Harvard looks to go up by 3 scores. Rushing touchdowns for Samar Smith and Joe Viviano for Harvard, both coming here in the 2nd quarter after Brown took a 3-0 lead in the 1st. Second and goal. Smith gobbled up. He was met by middle linebackers Will Twyman and Max Tilkey, and Tilkey wasn't given ground that time. Just pulled off a fake on the extra point. Straight kick here, and it's good. Jake McIntyre knocks home a field goal. Harvard goes up by 15.
We're starting to see the Harvard offense we expected to see here. You know, the first 2 drives, first drive not much, then another drive was stopped with a fumble. Now you're starting to see the Harvard offense we expected, using those various weapons that they have. But I think, and again, this goes back to what you and I talked about, I'm surprised at how effective and how much of the offense Samar Smith has been so far.
Smith has a touchdown. He's gained about 65 yards, and Harvard leads by 15. Tonight, it's a possible NASL postseason preview as the fallen combined table-leading New York Cosmos travel to take on the spring season champion Indy 11. Coverage begins live from the mic at 7:30 Eastern right here on One World Sports, also streaming live on oneworldsports.com. Good look at the Harvard marching band. Marching bands in the Ivy League are really fun. It's a lot like the Stanford band at the Pac-12 level. You called them kind of instruments of chaos when we were watching during the pregame.
They, in addition to their musical talent, they bring a level of humor and irreverence to the halftime performances.
Another kickoff from McIntyre. Pooches this one short for Prawl. Freshman Jacob Prawl starts forward. And down he goes, only a 10-yard return. Rayshawn McGee, the senior quarterback, who also plays on special teams, covered him well.
It's interesting that we've seen coaches talk about the idea of, with this 40-yard kickoff, might they start using something like we just saw, a bit of a pooch kick, instead of putting it back in the end zone and taking it all the way out to the 20, although they're a little bit short of it now. They'll try to drop it in the hole, if you will, and see if their coverage can keep the returners from getting out there. And this time it worked. They're starting at the 15, so it was a 5-yard net for them.
And Tim Murphy mentioned this week that he's concerned as a coach that he's going to have to be ready for more onside kicks as well, as it changes the equation a bit. Handoff on first down is going nowhere. Second team All-Ivy Leaguer James Duberg got inside with Miles McCullum to gobble up the running back Jalen Broom.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Brown offense trying to get some shots downfield here, because what you're seeing now is that guys are creeping up into the box. So far, they haven't been able to spring anything long. They've done some outs. They've done some quick slants. But it's taken its toll on the running game so far.
Running game, an area where Brown struggled last year. They only averaged about 108 yards a game. Quarterback keeper Marino is bottled up. Well read again by the Crimson defense. Jordan Hill, freshman linebacker playing in place of Chase Guillory, who's injured this week, picks up the tackle.
One of the things that the Harvard defense has always been so good about, remember, as you mentioned last year, one of the top 1 or 2 in the nation in terms of rushing yards given up, and the top 10 in terms of points given up. But they play position football. They play assignment football. They're where they're supposed to be each play.
You know what I thought was interesting? Most defensive coordinators say the stats don't matter. Michael Kelleher, the DC for Harvard, said he and his players talk about the stats because they don't just want to win. They want to be the best defense in the country.
I found that interesting also.
Marino on the scramble, and he is wrapped up from behind. Miles McCullum there again. It's a 3-and-out for Brown. Talked to Harvard captain Sean Ahern, and he said similarly, it's important he's now a fifth-year guy, to talk about those numbers and educate the youngsters on the lineage they have to live up to as a defensive player for the Crimson.
I thought that was curious also. You and I had asked that question, and there are some coaches who would say, no, we're not interested in that. We're just interested in winning. But he said very candidly, look, we pride ourselves in what we've been able to do defensively. So we challenge our players to say, look what the guys did last year. Let's see if you can do better than that.
Harvard's made good adjustments. A couple of 3-and-outs in a row for Brown. Here's a fake and some space. It's a first down. Snap to the Brown, up back Will Twyman, and the linebacker muscles forward for a first down.
Coach Phil S. has probably had the sense that momentum has been turning here. They needed to do something. You can see they line up, they spread the guys out, and you can see that the Harvard guys start to run backwards. So clearly this is again something that they've seen on film studying Harvard, and they figured here's a place for us if we're going to do it pretty close to midfield. Let's do it. And that kind of play can be such a momentum changer. I wouldn't be surprised to see them look deep to try to connect with Alex Jetty or somebody to take advantage of that swing.
Well, they come right out with a 4 wide receiver set. Prawl in motion. Takes it on the jet sweep. Prawl bouncing to the outside. Flag comes out. No gain. Will likely be holding, and that would zap some of the wind out of the Browns' sails after the fake punt.
That's a tough play to make happen against good position playing defenses, because if they're where they're supposed to be, that play you've got to count on somebody crashing down.
10-yard penalty. Still
getting out of their defensive lane so that Grawl could. He's got a long way to run here before he can find a lane for him to cut up. You can see, and he's got some speed. There's the hold right there.
Yeah, that's Troy Doles, the outside wide receiver.
Being played nicely by the Harvard guy, flailing his arms in the air to make sure the official sees that.
On a play like that, you're asking a wide receiver to hold a block for so long.
That's a tough thing to do as you're moving side to side.
So 1st and 20 was the Harvard defense, which, even though they have the accolades of being a top 10 defense, you'd say is still unheralded. Everybody talks about the Harvard offense. The defense doesn't get a whole lot of love. Screen pass, Jalen Brew with some space. Makes a man miss, and the ball pops out and slips out of bounds. It's a break for Brown. A gain of 13 yards sets up 2nd and 7.
Well-designed play, well-executed play. You can see he gets the wall out in front of him. A lot of blocking. And fortunately for Brown, that ball gets kicked out of bounds by a Harvard player. Otherwise, that could have been a disaster.
2nd and 7. Senior quarterback Kyle Marino fires one up, and it's caught. Anton Casey, great catch, plus a flag. Safety Tim Hale was in his shorts, and Casey climbed the ladder.
That was a fabulous throw, and even better catch. You can see Marino's got time to get the ball, steps up, delivers it, goes up, makes a great play, and I think the flag could be a target.
It could be. Rayshon McGee came over at the end.
You could see that the officials are talking it over right now, but there could be. The question is, did he actually get him? Did he actually make contact?
Also, did he launch off the ground to make the tackle? It was close, but it looks like Rayshon McGee may have launched off the ground. It's a big decision, because if it is a targeting penalty, Rayshon McGee be ejected from this game.
You know, the penalties are severe, intentionally so. Everybody's concerned with player safety out here. Let's see what the officials have decided. Couldn't hear the official, but he has called targeting.
And he has ejected Rayshon McGee. Harvard already thin in the defensive backfield. Only one returning starter. And now Rayshon McGee has been ejected from this game. You're a defensive back, so put me in the mindset there. How do you adjust to these new rules?
You know what you have to do? You have to understand that you need to get your arms out. You need to do rugby tackling. That's what people are teaching nowadays, because if you do that launch, which became popular about 10 years ago, trying to blow a guy up, nowadays with the current rules, unless you're leading with your shoulder, and that's a hard thing to do, you're running the risk of getting a call like this. So they're teaching, especially defensive backs now, try to do that wrapping rugby tackle.
So Rayshon McGee has been ejected. Big hit on the quarterback Marino, who slings a pass out to Swanky for 5. Let's take another look at this targeting decision, and I'll let you wear the stripes for this one.
Sure. You can see first it's a little late. You can see the catch has been made already, and it's a little bit late. It wasn't a significant blow to the head, but an intention is not part of it. This is not the criminal law where you intended to hurt him. If you do that motion, especially for a defenseless player, defenseless receiver, they're going to throw the flags on you.
3rd and 1 for Brown. So with McGee out, Wesley Augsbury takes over as cornerback, and he'll stay on the field after a first down for Brown. Jalen Broom gains 3.
You can sense that Brown is picking up the momentum here after the fake punt got them the first down. A long reception, which was great. The targeting penalty tags on some yards on top of that. You can get a sense looking down here, and even looking at the Brown bench. They've all now gathered by the line of scrimmage.
Hand off Broom, and he's swallowed up this time. Didn't make it back to the line of scrimmage. Richie Ryan, the sophomore defensive tackle, gobbled him up. D-line is a spot that Tim Murphy was really complimentary of, and he said they played 12, 13 guys there at the D-line position.
You can see he said we've got a lot of depth, not just depth, but competitive depth, guys who can play. I think when they go back and look at the film here, Kyle Moreno might look at that one and say, you know what, he should have pulled that one, because it looked like he had some room if he pulled it to get around the right edge.
2nd and 11. Remember, Brown gets the ball to start half 2, so a touchdown here really make things interesting. Crawl in motion, play action. Marino for the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown. Troy goes. 20-yard pitch and catch. It's Kyle Marino's 4th touchdown this season.
What a well-designed play. The fake gets the part of the defense moving to the left. They drag Bowles back across the field. And you can see he's wide open, as you said, pitching and catching there. Well-conceived design play, well-executed. It's always, when you get down the goal line there and you can drag a guy back across the motion and the momentum of the defense, it's such an effective play.
Jake Stadium. It's interesting because we talked with the Harvard coaching staff this week, and they were cognizant of the fake because of a guy like Jetty, who is a wide receiver and the punter. But their focus was on Jetty running the fakes, not one of the up men, a linebacker in Twyman.
Just really good coaching by Brown, taking advantage of something that nobody expected.
A swim kick into the wind this time. Justice Shelton Mosley picks it up at his 10. And he only makes it to the 16. Flying in, Brandon Davenport picks up his 2nd tackle today. All the momentum for Brown after an 11-play touchdown drive here, Jack.
Again, looking at these plays coming down the field, they get a big run on the fake punt, surprising everybody. Then Kyle Moreno turns around, great catch, and the targeting penalty, which adds additional. And you can see here, everybody's swing is to Brown's right. They drag the receiver back across the field, and momentum now, especially after this kickoff. Very well done. Squib kick back into the corner, and they're able to contain Justice Shelton Mosley. Momentum still on